This is History Literacy Ready, Unit 2, Lesson 9. This lesson is about different types of text. So in this lesson, students are going to discuss some of the different kinds of texts that historians encounter, the kinds of texts that they have already encountered in Unit 1 and in Unit 2. They're going to view a PowerPoint. They will speculate on the limitations and affordances of these different kinds of texts in terms of their credibility, and then they'll speculate about the kind of evidence they can possibly add to a historian's claim. And they're going to learn some text type vocabulary. This kind of vocabulary is vocabulary that helps you speak about the discipline. So in Activity 1, students are going to contribute to a group list of the kinds of texts they've encountered in the history unit so far. There have been a number of ones, and you want to have them include photographs and quotes and political cartoons, all that kind of thing. If they have participated in Unit 1 as well, have them bring in those kinds of texts. Before you actually have them view the PowerPoint, you should preview it yourself and possibly review the kinds of texts that students have encountered up to this point so that if they miss something, you can help them figure out what those things are that they missed to come up with a complete list. Students are going to consider the following question: what challenges to credibility are characteristic of each of these kinds of sources? So they're going to be thinking about those and thinking about what might be credible, what might be not. For instance, how credible is an email compared to an edict? What kinds of things do you have to be thinking about in terms of the kind of evidence it is and what it can add to a historian's claim? So thinking about those questions in relation to the kind of document that they're reading. You also want them to identify if the text is primary, secondary, or tertiary. By tertiary, I mean like a college textbook or compendium of some kind that's actually relies on not just primary sources, but also secondary sources. And you want them to write the challenges of each text in their academic notebooks. There's a place for doing that. And discuss these together and have them get your feedback. And then after they've discussed it together, revise those challenges that they wrote about, if necessary. Now, again, it'd be useful for you to think about these challenges as well before you begin the lesson. And you want to be thinking not only challenges to credibility, but also, what the affordances and limitations are. For example, the Constitution of the United States is a credible document, but it doesn't provide information about context in which it was written, the way it's been used over time, any of that stuff. And so it can tell you one kind of thing, but it can't tell you everything. And each kind of document that you look at is like that. So students are also going to be thinking a little bit deeper about the kinds of ways that historians write text. And historical texts use description, explanation, and argumentation justification. So those are kind of three styles that historians use when they talk about the past. Students will learn about that in the PowerPoint, and then they're going to have to read some text and decide if that is a description, an explanation, or an argument justification. So they're going to determine which each of those excerpts represents. Students can work together on this if you prefer. It's a little bit of a challenging task, and of course I would have them, if they're doing it by themselves, get together with somebody else and then get together in a whole group so that they can have something to say before they actually get to that whole group discussion. You do want to have that though, because you can help students pull out some key features that let you know what kind of text it is: description, explanation, or argument. And that's the end of this lesson. It's a short lesson, but it's a lesson that's focused mainly on historiography. That is, helping students learn ways to talk about texts that they encounter in history.